Get him out. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Trump, I meant to give you.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And this is an amazing honor. It's an amazing day, very historic day for a lot of reasons, not only Turnberry. This was one of the big votes in the history of Europe and Scotland and everywhere. It was very exciting coming in, and we were landing, and we had just heard the results. So I wish everybody a lot of luck. I think that it's purely historic, and what's happening is historic. So it's an honor to be with you. My mother was born in Scotland, in Stornoway. She loved Scotland. She would be here a lot. She would come every year with my sister Marion and my sister Elizabeth, and they just loved it. Her loyalty to Scotland was incredible. She respected and loved the Queen, and she loved the ceremony and the pomp and circumstance, and she was something special. And to think that we'd be here owning Turnberry one day would be incredible. She would come to Turnberry with her friends, and they'd have dinner at Turnberry. She didn't play golf, but they'd have dinner at Turnberry. So, having taken this hotel and done the job that we've done with it is just an honor that I was given the opportunity. We bought it about 4.5 years ago. The town council has been incredible. The local politicians and all of the politicians all throughout have been absolutely incredible. They approved virtually everything that we asked for. We asked for the right things, but the approval process, because it's so historic, it had to go through many different layers. But every single thing that we wanted, they agreed that they thought it was good, and in some cases, great. We've taken the lighthouse, which is a very, very important building in Florida. I mean, in Scotland, and we've taken that building and made it something really special. Inside the lighthouse right now is incredible suites, and it's called a halfway house because this is the ninth tee, and it's called a halfway house. And on the bottom you have dining, and golfers will stop and they'll go and get something to eat, and then they go into the 10th hole, 10th tee right next door. So the light, and it was in disrepair, and all of the people from Landmark, Scotland, and all of the people that we had to go through were, I just thank you, because it was a long, difficult process getting that approved, but they really wanted to see it at the highest level, and now it's really at a higher level than it ever was. And when you see, I don't know if you'll get the chance, but if you do, you should try and get to see the suites, because they are two of the most beautiful suites you'll ever see. And you know, when the water's rough today, it's very calm. In fact, I've almost never seen it like this, but sometimes you have waves that are literally crashing onto this piece of land that we're standing on. It's one of the most beautiful sights you'll ever see. This hole didn't exist. The Royal and Ancient has been incredible. They've worked with us on design. They've wanted to do these changes for probably close to 50 years because they were so obvious, and we've made certain changes to the course. In addition to that, we fully renovated the course, brand new sprinkler system, the highest level. Many of the holes have been jiggered and made even longer, and new greens, new everything, and yet it's the same Turnberry. But the hole 9, 10, and 11 and 4 have been changed and moved out into the ocean. This hole, as an example, from approximately this area, you would hit over there. This was a par 4, and you'd hit over there, and it was a much different thing. Now you're hitting out over the ocean, and just to the right of the lighthouse, you have a green, and a lot of people think this will be the greatest par 3 anywhere in the world. And then 10 becomes a par 5 that the golfers know and the members know. I think we have a lot of the members of Turnberry right in the back, the captain and a lot of the members. We appreciate you being here. And we have then number 11, which is a spectacular hole, also a par 3, built right on the cliffs. And that hole was moved about 200 yards to the left. And Tom Watson saw me, and he won the British Open many times, Peter, right? Many times. And he said 5. He said, what a change. And, you know, he actually thought it was a very easy hole the way it was, but he probably liked it because he would birdie it all the time. But what we've done is what everybody's wanted to do for many, many decades. I want to thank Martin Ebert, who has done an incredible job as the architect. And I called up the Royal and Ancient, Peter Dawson, who's an amazing man and a great guy and a talented person, and loves the sport and loves Scotland. And frankly, I said, who should I use as the architect? And he did me a big favor. He recommended Martin. And so I want to thank you, and I want to thank Peter Dawson, who's here with us now. Peter Dawson headed up the Royal and Ancient for years, and he has been just a great friend. And I thank you for everything, Peter. Your recommendations have been incredible. Thank you very much. My son, Eric, was in charge of the job. I wanted to really come over here, and Ivanka and Don came with me to congratulate Eric. He was really, we gave him the responsibility of building the hotel, as you know, was gutted down to the steel and rebuilt. I think it's going to be one of the great hotels of the world. It already was, but it was in somewhat dilapidated shape, and we had a choice. We could fix it and paint it, or we could do it the way we did it. And we went back to the original plans. We were able to get the plans from the original architects from many, many years ago. It was 1906. And we went back to those plans, which are magnificent rooms, very big. They were cut in half, and all sorts of things happened over the years. And we have something that's very special. It's considered one of the most beautiful buildings in all of golf. I think we can say that, Peter. You know, usually a building, when you have a building on a golf course, that's not an asset. That's called a liability. This is one of the buildings where, even though it's in the distance, when you're in the 18th hole and you're looking down the fairway and you're looking at that building, it's considered one of the great, beautiful, and historic sites in golf. As you know, Jack Nicklaus won the Open Championship, and Tom Watson, and you know, you have so many great champions. Actually, the greatest, I guess they say one of the greatest tournaments, if not the single greatest tournament in the history of golf, was the Duel in the Sun. Was that 1977 with Tom Watson and Jack Nicklaus, and that was just birdie, birdie, birdie. Everybody else was sort of, they weren't in the match, right? But these two just kept going wild, and that was where Tom Watson chipped in from an area that you couldn't even hit the green, let alone get it in the hole. There was only one way to stop the shot, and that's if you chipped it in. That's what he did. And Jack is an incredible sportsman, and the way he walked off the course was one of the great scenes in all of golf. And Jack Nicklaus is a friend of mine and a great champion, and great champions, whether it's Tom Watson or Greg Norman or Nick Price. We've had amazing winners at Turnberry, and really not only amazing winners for the Open Championship, but some of the best tournaments they've ever had. So we listened to the Royal and Ancient, and we did what they wanted us to do. In addition, they put in tremendous miles of television cables, and everything's underground, so it's all ready to go from that standpoint. And the town is so happy and so thrilled, and the town council who's here, and I want to thank you all very much for being here. They have been really terrific. So again, in honor of my mother, Mary McLeod, and who was a terrific person, she came to the United States at the age of 19. She was a beautiful, beautiful woman and a very smart woman, and she met my father, and that was it. And they were married for a long time, and they had a great marriage, and really a great marriage. But in honor of my mother, Mary McLeod, and in honor of my children, Don was very instrumental in buying it. We had, the owners were here. They were friends of mine from Dubai, great people, but you know, this wasn't their thing because they didn't know too much about golf. And they actually felt, why should we move a hole into the ocean when we already have a hole? And I said, well, it's a lot better. They said, yeah, but it's already there. So, you know, they didn't understand the golf thing. But it always did well. You know, Turnberry, because of its location, because of the fact that you're on the ocean, because it's one of the most spectacular properties in the world, it always did well. But now, since we opened, we actually opened a number of weeks ago, the course, and we haven't had an empty slot. Peter, you'll be happy to hear this. We haven't had one empty slot. It's from morning till night. it's packed. So it's a special location. I don't know, it's just the location. Everybody comes here, whether it's from London or wherever they want to be. They all want to come to Turnberry. And with that, I just want to thank a few people. I have to thank Ralph, who, the one thing the other owners did, they said, where is Ralph? Ralph, the one thing they said is, they said, you have a man named Ralph. He was an assistant manager at that time. And one of the owners, who's sort of a friend of mine, said, he's the most talented hotel person, hotelier. And they said, you should have him be the manager. And we did. We appointed him as the manager, and it's been nothing but great stuff. And the hotel opened about 2 weeks ago, and it's been amazing. Eric did such a good job. We've had very few complaints, almost no complaints about the rooms. Usually when a hotel opens, you have drains that aren't connected and pipes that aren't connected and water that's spewing through the roofs and all sorts of things. We haven't had anything. They've done a great job. The contractors have done a fantastic job. And the hotel is built to the absolute highest standards of luxury. And the course is built to the absolute highest standards of tournament golf. And I think there'll be nothing like it. In one of the reviews, I think it was Golf Digest in the United States, they compared the 14 Rota courses and the 14 all great courses. And that's where they play the Open Championship. And this writer said, Turnberry is number 1, but because Trump owns it, I'm making it number 3. And I said to myself, that's hatred. That's hatred. But I'm used to that with the press. That's okay. I considered it a compliment. I immediately sent that review to the Royal and Ancient. I sent it to Martin. So I just want to thank everybody. I want to ask perhaps Eric and Ivanka and Don to come forward and say a few words. And again, Ivanka came, and Eric said, wow, this must be important because Ivanka came, right? Because she's something else. They're all, my children have done a great job. And I mean, one of the very important reasons I'm here, not only because we own it and we're going to cherish it, we're going to take care of it, one of the great, great places, great resorts of the world, but also because I want to really support my children. They worked very hard to make this property what it is and what it's now become. The reviews of the course have been phenomenal, not just like good. Even people that truly hate me are saying it's the best they've ever seen, which is always, to me, Peter, that's always my greatest. When they hate you and they give it a 10, that means you did a good job, right? But the reviews have been phenomenal, and the reviews of the hotel have been great. The hotel is, I didn't even put a mortgage on. We have no debt, no financing, no anything, and I wanted to do that with Turnberry. I don't want to have any financing on Turnberry because it's so special. So I just did this out of cash flow, and we just have, we have an absolutely zero debt property, and I think it's something that's going to be a great tribute to Scotland and many other places, and also a great tribute to the world of golf for many, many decades to come. So I'll ask Eric in particular because he built it, but I'll ask Eric and Ivanka and Don to come forward. Thank you all very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you.